Hey guys, I'm going to give you one more demo on drawing people. And we're going to talk about limbs and hands and feet. So we know from we're just going to review here the type of skeleton that we were doing. We were doing head, rib cage, pelvis, right? So this is going to be our three main parts, and we just aligned them with a spine, and we were using our ball and socket joints for that. So previously I was just drawing lines, right? For the general proportion. You can get the length of things, but let's start fleshing things out. Now, with arms and legs, we want to think of cylinders, or maybe like cones that are kind of like cylinders. So if I were to draw a cylinder here, it'd be like that. And let's do the ball and socket joint right there, and we can do another cylinder as the elbow bends. And things will tend to taper in. That's why I like the cone shape, because think of it like it's a long cone, like that. Would be a really long cone, but then you're just kind of cutting off a piece of it like that. So that's going to be your tapering. Um, so this applies to both the arms and the legs, and depending on if the arm or leg is muscular, the upper part of the arm or leg might be tapering in as well. So like if there's a lot of muscle like here. Before I get into the muscles though, let's just keep thinking about this, because the arms and legs, if you think about it, with four-legged animals, they have four legs, but technically, the way the skeleton is set up, if we're drawing an animal here, they would have their rib cage this way, their pelvis this way, and then their shoulder blade would be right there, and their ball and socket joint would be right there, and it would be kind of like this, right? Yeah. Actually, it would be like bent this way. That's kind of like the ball of their foot, like that. So it's pretty similar to our bodies. It's just they're on all fours. And then you would have your spine here, and then the head would be there, depending on whatever animal it is. um, so that's their shape. And if you think about it, the limbs have all kind of similar functions. So in humans, the shape of the arms and legs is going to be actually pretty similar. So if we have a leg coming down here, and I were to flesh it out, I can think about the cylinder, and it really depends on how muscular or how much fat the person has on their body. Let's actually make this a little bit more thin for now. Get a cylinder there, tapering in, a cylinder there, tapering in. And this, drawing cylinders like this is going to be very useful for doing your limbs. This one's going to be tapering in slightly. It depends on for a male or female figure, but for a male figure, the thighs are going to be a little closer together. Let's do it that way. You're kind of just fleshing out the bone. And yeah, I'm trying to avoid drawing the muscles because I don't want to get into that yet. I want to just keep things really basic. For this one too, let's let it taper in. The calf's going to taper in like that. And notice I'm not drawing anything for the knees and elbows yet. Again, you could draw it as a ball. That's probably fine and functional for you. But remember, in the previous video, I mentioned that elbows and knees, they only bend one way. So having a ball, for me personally, it's more of like a hinge like that. So if we were to make a robot here, let's draw this from the front view. Let's say that this is the front of the leg or the thigh right here, and a robot would be more like a hinge joint, like that. It would be like a cylinder going that way, right? And it would have like the bottom of the leg connecting down. So it would be rotating like that because it only rotates in one way. But if it's easier for you to draw a ball, that's completely fine. Let's talk about hands and feet real quick. So this is a pretty good skeleton, and you can always flesh things out like the neck and whatever else. But hands and feet, let's go kind of zoom into a hand here. So let's do a forearm here. So let's make it face it coming forward a little bit. So the wrist, if you kind of feel your wrist, it has a flat top and a flat bottom. So oftentimes the wrist will be drawn with like a box. Even if the arm is round, the wrist itself is not really round. Even if you're like kind of have a lot of fat around your wrist, it can be roundish, but it's still a little bit flatter than it is round. So this is our hand, and I'm going to attach a hand to it. So the hand is going to expand to like a box, right? So actually, let me do it this way first. The box is really good for palms, and then I think I have previous videos on this, but the arch of the fingers, like if I have a box here, the arch of the fingers kind of looks like this. And the higher part of the arch is going to be your index and middle finger. So I like to split it up into 4 after this. Index and middle finger. There's going to be some space in between. And depending on your hand, sometimes, usually the palm is going to be longer than the middle finger. And the palm is going to have a couple muscles here. So the thumb muscle is always in front. It attaches in front like that. And depending on where the thumb is, whether it's bending inwards like that or bending outwards like that, the thumb muscle is always going to be that bulging shape in the front. So let's go ahead and attach the fingers here on that arch. Pinky is short, middle finger is longest. And I'm pretty sure I have some videos on hands before, so you guys can check that out. They're kind of like hot dog shapes, but just I think with hands are so complicated that it's best to like just keep looking at hand references. The breakdown though is that the palm is a box, and if I were to draw it like facing forward here again, it's going to look something like this. This is going to be the top edge, and the fingers are going to come off of here, and I'm just going to imagine that box. So, and also depending on how the hand is curving, like where the thumb is, like the box can sort of curve like this. Again, it's good. I'm making sure that for these videos, we're always drawing in terms of 3D objects, because doing your box rotations and cylinder rotations, that's always gonna be very useful for drawing the body in like different perspectives. So just keep practicing these basic shapes, your cylinders, boxes in every single direction, thin ones, thick ones, like that. I mean, it's not really. I mean, for me, it's kind of fun. I don't know if that's boring for you, but it's just going to be very useful to keep doing that. So for the hand, what I'm imagining is like this is going to be the arch of the fingers coming forward. I'm going to split it up into 4, and then our pinky is going to be short, and our ring finger is going to be here. There are 3 joints for each finger, so there's going to be the long one in the middle, and then one for the tip right there. And each one of these little parts kind of bulges out to become a knuckle, and then it sort of like goes that way. It kind of tapers out or in. I don't want to get again too deep into the details yet. We're just going to finish his hand here. They're like little hot dogs coming out of the finger of the palm. And let's do another one here. So that's just a simple breakdown, and the thumb muscle is always going to be in front. And let's bring the thumb out going this way. So this might be a little complex for you guys, but you can see that I built it from that square palm, and I curved that palm. So going back to our body here, the hand attaches to the wrist. We're going to have that box. I'm going to have the hand kind of like turning out a little bit so that the thumb is going to be here, and then the fingers are going to attach to the top of that box with an arch right there. So same thing. I'm going to rotate this hand a little bit so that it's facing us. The palm, arch, thumb, fingers. I made those fingers a little fat, but you just draw a lot of hands and you'll get used to like the fingers. Let's take a look at feet real quick. Now, feet are really weird because a lot of people don't really like to draw feet, and oftentimes people are wearing shoes anyway. But because people are wearing shoes, and we can just try to get the general shape of it. Now, there's a few ways to conceptualize it. I know that it attaches to the leg like this. And the foot can only rotate in a few ways. Like it kind of feels like it can rotate in all directions, but it only kind of like hinges like this as well. Like when it comes to putting your foot up and down, this is the shape of it. right? This is this skeletal shape. Now there's a heel, there's a big bone right there. There's a bunch of padding under here, and then this would attach to the Achilles tendon, and then you get a heel like that. So how do we break this down? I kind of like it as like a, let's think of it this way. It's like a pyramid or a triangle, like that. So let's draw that again. So we have our leg bone here, or the tibia and the fibula. There's two leg bones here, but let's just think of it as one right now. And then let's go here. Now I like to make sure that there's some heel going back that way, because it attaches to the Achilles tendon right here, and then the calf comes right there, right? Right there. That's our, and then the front muscles are like that, and it attaches to the ankles right there. There's a bunch of padding on the bottom, and there's a bony part here as it comes to the toes, and then we'll think about the toes. Let's look at a top view. Now I like to think of it like it just kind of comes forward like that. This is from the top, and there's a lot of S curves and C curves that you want to pay attention to when you do the foot. That the big toe comes forward, and then these sort of like go backward like that, and there's a curve here, and the pinky toe is really small. Don't underestimate how small it is. And depending on the foot, sometimes your index toe is longer than your big toe. Sometimes your big toe is longer. So if I were to draw that again, so if I were to draw it like a 3D shape, it's almost like, I don't know, there's a lot of nuances to the foot. I think I'm going to have to do more foot breakdowns later. This kind of curves. We have our ankle here. Like the overall shape is almost pyramid-like. It's either this kind of shape, or it's kind of like pyramid-like, if you were to break it down. But again, just look at a lot of feet references you can find on Pinterest or Google, and find your own breakdown. If any of you have a better breakdown than what my feet are, then I would love to hear it, because my feet breakdown is not the greatest, and I would like to be able to teach you guys confidently. I could do another video on feet later, but hopefully this guy's helped you a little bit on hands, feet, and limbs. And we're gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna do some more tutorials. Okay, see y'all later. God bless. Bye bye.